Wayne Goodale from BioDiversity Research Institute, and I'm here to talk about a marine wind power siting research. And what we're proposing is funding to cover research to look at bird and bat movement through the coast of Maine, and this is in collaboration with the University of Southern Maine Fish and Wildlife Service and IF&W. And the reason this is so important is, as we're all aware, wind development is happening very rapidly in Maine, really in 4 areas: on our islands, through offshore wind demonstration areas. The Ocean Energy Task Force put forward the goal of 5 gigawatts of energy production by 2030. That's 1,000 turbines that have to be placed 1 mile apart from each other. So they could potentially take up 2% of the Gulf of Maine. And what we've seen in the literature from Europe, and how some things to maybe show you here in question and answer, is that the siting is absolutely critical. If you site these wind projects in the right location that doesn't conflict with bird and bat flight patterns, then you're going to have very little impact. But if you site them in the wrong area, you can have tremendous impact. And right now there isn't the information on the bird movement. We have pretty good information on, and again I'll show you a map of where the birds are. That's easy, really. How they're moving around is the difficult part. And that's what we'll be looking at, is how they're moving around. And what I see this as very critical is Maine has received a lot of funding to develop the technology side of offshore wind, and that's very exciting for the state. But we also need to be a leader also in the research on the environmental side and the siting side. And what can be, the research that will be done here in the state of Maine will be able to be used up and down the coast. And right now we at BioDiversity Research Institute are co-chairs of a East Coast working group looking at these very issues. So this will bring that together. And I guess the last thing I'd like to say is that this will support a graduate student at USM to do this work, and it will also create 3 jobs. Again, long-term sustainable jobs. I think more funding will be coming down the road and become available a couple of years from now. But the important part of having appropriations is to bridge the gap, and nothing's going in the water probably for 3 to 4 years. So we have an opportunity to help developers by bringing the science and really expedite the permitting process, so we don't get into this big argument about what's appropriate and people are waving their hands saying we don't have data and you have to do 10 years of research. This will bring the information to the table. Hopefully I was somewhat within